Hey everyone, here's another video where I'd like to talk about another very common A-judge deduction, and that is a code 30. And even though the focus of this video is going to be on the A-judge deduction, I am also going to bring in some information about C-judging, because in this case there is a relationship there, and I think a lot of athletes and coaches may not understand how A-judging and C-judging affect performance in regards to difficulty movements, and also the quality of those movements and those errors of deduction. So let's jump in with the A-judge errors for deduction for code 30. So again, we're referencing the rules for international Wushu competition, and this is under quality of movements for A-judges. So we'll scroll down here, and this is the code 30. It's under jumps, and this is for the three major jumps in Wushu. This is for a tengkong feijiao, or a TKFJ, a xuan fengjiao, or a XFJ, and a tengkong bailian, a TKBL. You may know these as a jump front kick, a jump inside kick, or a tornado kick, and also the jump outside kick, or a lotus kick. They're the same three jumps, just with different names, the Chinese and then also some of the English translations for those. So what are the errors for deduction for these three kicks? There's only two for the A judges, and that is for the kicking leg being below shoulder level and for the slap missing. So for an A judge, they are only looking for those two things to determine whether or not to apply the code 30 deduction. Let's define what is the kicking leg below shoulder level and what is slap missing. We're going to jump over now to the judges course book for the code 30. Again, it says here the toes of the slapped foot are below shoulder level, which has a little bit better description for that requirement of being at shoulder level, and also the slap miss. So here it says kicking leg below shoulder level. What that actually means is that the toe, like if I'm kicking with my right leg, that the toe of the kicking foot is above shoulder level. The judge is to determine whether or not the toes of the slapped foot, the foot of the kicking leg, have surpassed the level of the shoulder. This does not mean that the judges are looking at the height of the shoulder of the athlete before they take off and then drawing an imaginary line to where the kicking leg is. We are comparing the height of the kick as it is being executed to the shoulder of the athlete while in air. Okay. In regards to the slap being missed, and this is a very rare deduction, it just means that the judge needs to visually see that the hand is coming in contact with the foot, and also that we hear some sort of a sound. Okay, so now that we've established what the error for deduction is for the code 30 as an A judge, let's now talk about what the C judges are looking for a tengkong feijiao, a xuan fengjiao, and a tengkong bailian. This is also from the same rule book, and this is under requirements for degree of difficulty. Okay, so this is for C judges, right? In international Wushu competition, we have three sets of judges. You have A, B, and C. Right? They work independently of one another, and they all have different things that they're looking at. So we're talking about Group A judges, which are looking at quality of movement, and then now we're talking about Group C judges, who are looking at the degree of difficulty. Here we have the jumps. Okay, so we have it split up by xuan fengjiao. This is a jump inside kick or tornado kick. We have the tengkong bailian, which is a jump outside or a lotus kick. And then just underneath that, we have the tengkong feijiao, or the jumping front kick. All three of them have the same requirements for degree of difficulty, and that is that the run up has no more than 4 steps, right? So for any of those jumps, the run into the jump has to have less than 4 steps. The secondary requirement is that the rotation is incomplete, right? So for a xuan fengjiao 360, 540, 720, the judges are measuring the angle of rotation or degrees of rotation in the air. Same thing with the tengkong bailian, the jump outside. Now with the tengkong feijiao, because there is no rotation, it's a jumping front kick, the requirement there is that it must be executed in flight, right? So the kick must be completed while the athlete is still in the air. And finally is that the kicking leg must be high enough. Okay, now remember, we're looking at a separate part of the rule book right now. We're looking under judges that are looking at the degree of difficulty. So when it says that the kicking leg is not high enough, what does that mean? For the A judge, we just define the kicking leg being high enough as being at shoulder level. But this is different for the Group C judges. So for the Group C judges, and this is the judges course book, right? Under xuan fengjiao, and the same thing for the tengkong bailian and tengkong feijiao, is that the kicking leg, right, has to be at least at horizontal level, which is defined at being at waist level. So just to recap, the Group A judges for those three kicks are looking at the height of the kick, the toe being above the shoulder level, and that there must be a slap, that the hand must come in contact with the foot. The Group C judges, the C judges who are looking at degree of difficulty, are measuring those kicks and measuring the height of the kicking leg to be at least at horizontal. This is going to make a little bit more sense when we jump into the videos and we start applying what we're talking about right now. So here are some videos, again from the World Wushu Championships from last year, and again we'll be looking at women's compulsory changchun. So before I play this video, we're going to be looking just at the first section of the form, because that has all three jumps that we've just discussed here. So first, let's take a look at this from the eyes of the A judges. The A judges are looking to see that the foot of the kicking leg surpasses the shoulder level, okay? 1, 2, 3. Okay. What did you see? Let's take a look at the scoreboard. So again, to recap, this is the Group A scores. This is for quality of movements. This second number is the Group B scores, and the 4 scores from the Group B judges. And the final is the Group C, which are the judges that are looking for degree of difficulty. So here we see that the athlete got a code 30. And we'll go back to the video and step through it slowly to try to figure out which kick got the code 30. Now down here, these numbers for Group C, these refer to each of those movements. So this first number, the 1, is for the tengkong bailian, the jump outside. The next 3 numbers, the 2, 3, 4. The 2 is for the tengkong feijiao, the jump front kick. The 4th is for the fan, or for the aerial. The 3 in between those 2 is for the connecting movement. I won't spend too much time talking about that, but it just means that the athlete must complete a tengkong feijiao, and then within 1 step execute and complete fan, or an aerial. Now the next 2 numbers, the 5 and the 6, are for the xuan fengjiao and for the split landing. So with each of these numbers filled in with red, that means that the judges, according to the requirements for degree of difficulty, awarded points for each of those movements. But so why is she getting the code 30? Let's go back, and for each of the jumps, I'm going to pause and then step through, and we can take a look at whether or not the foot of the kicking leg surpassed the shoulder level. Okay. That's the jump outside, right? This is the tengkong bailian. Clearly, the toes of the kicking foot are above the shoulder level. So we'll keep going. This is for the tengkong feijiao, the jump front kick. All right. So this is the point of contact. This is when the athlete is slapping the foot. And look at where the toes of that kicking leg are in relationship to the shoulders. This is definitely below the shoulder. She's reaching down for the kick. It looks like her leg is maybe at horizontal level. Let's also look at the xuan fengjiao. Okay, it's a little bit blurry, but as you can see, that toe is way above her shoulder. In fact, it looks like it's above her head. So for those 3 kicks, right, the jump outside, the tengkong bailian, the jump front kick, the tengkong feijiao, and for the xuan fengjiao, of those 3, it was the jump front kick. It was the tengkong feijiao. Same form. So again, look for those 3 kicks, and look for the toes of the kicking leg being above the shoulder. Okay, she's getting one code 30, so at least one of those kicks, the A judges believe that the toe of her kicking leg was below her shoulder. Now, let's quickly look down here at the group C judges. As you can see, all of those numbers are filled in, meaning that the group C judges believe that she met the requirements for all of those jumps. Let's go back and watch her again in slow motion, and we can try to find that code 30. Okay, toes of the kicking leg, definitely above her shoulder level. All right, what do we think about this one? A little bit difficult to see because of the angle of the camera, right? We're at a slightly higher angle looking down. The judges are here on the right side, and they have a much lower perspective than what we're seeing. So from here, it looks like she's pretty close, right? But perhaps from the judge's perspective, because they are lower, they're seeing things differently than we are. I would say that this is probably the kick that the judges thought was low. But let's also look at the fengjiao. Okay, a little bit difficult because of the frame rate of this video, but from this frame, it looks like the toe of her kick is above the shoulder. But look at the hand in relationship to the kick. It's possible, and I can't really tell from this video, but it's possible that this athlete did not slap her foot. Remember, so the code 30 can be for either the leg being low, the foot being low during the kick, or it can also be for the slap being missed. So in this case, the code 30 could have been for that jump front kick, right, for the tengkong feijiao, or it could have been for the hand missing the foot during the fengjiao. Let's look at that one more time, and then we'll talk about it and look at her score. Jump outside. Jump front kick. Jump inside. So what did you see? Let's take a look at her scoreboard. Okay, she's got 2 code 30s. All right, so that means that the A judges believe that 2 of her kicks did not meet the requirement of the toe being above the shoulder during the kick or the slap being missed. And in this case, I think it's definitely a case of the kick not being high enough. Now, let's take another look down here at the Group C judges. This first kick, which is the jump outside, this is the tengkong bailian. The Group C judges do not believe that it met the requirements. Okay, again, we're missing some information here because of the frame rate of the video, but this is the point of contact when her foot is, or her hand is slapping the foot. And as you can see, it's definitely lower than shoulder level, but it's also, from this frame, it looks like it's also not horizontal. So this is probably why the Group C judges did not award her the difficulty points for this tengkong bailian, that the kicking leg was not high enough. Also, for the A judges that are looking at the same movement, the requirement is for that the toes of the kicking leg to be above her shoulder, and I think in this case it is not. So for this one movement, right, she's being deducted by the A judges, and from the C judges, she is not being awarded the points for that difficulty move. Let's go ahead and continue with the video and see where that other code 30 came from. This is for the jump front kick. Okay, very hard to see from this angle. Her foot is obscured by her body, but if we kind of go back and forth, it would appear that her kick is low. All right, so this is probably where that other code 30 is coming from. And as you can see from the video, the judges are along this side, so they have a very good view of this kick. And then finally, let's look at her fengjiao. Hard to see because the foot is kind of obscured, but if we kind of go back and forth, it looks like her toes are above shoulder level. So those two code 30s, it's for the first jump outside and for the jump front kick. And also the C judges did not award points for the first jump outside. Let's switch gears and look at some nan-chuan, okay? This is the compulsory nan-chuan. So the athlete is going to start off with a xuan fengjiao into a diebu, right? She's going to then do a jump outside to mabu, so tengkong bailian to mabu, then with another xuan fengjiao to diebu, and another jump outside, another tengkong bailian to mabu. So let's look at this first through the eyes of the A judge. You're looking for the toe of the kicking leg to be above the shoulder. Jump inside. Jump outside. Okay, what did you see? Let's take a look at what the judges saw. So the Group A judges saw two code 30s, right? So the A judges believed that at least two of those jumps, the toes of the kicking leg were below the shoulder. In addition, let's look at the Group C judges and what did they see? So the first two numbers, this is the jump inside to diebu. This is the jump, and this is the landing. So they awarded those. Then the next one is going to be for the jump outside to mabu. The next is for the second jump inside to diebu. And the third is for the jump outside to mabu. Let's go back and look at that video again and figure out specifically what the code 30s came from. Boom. Okay, that one looks good, right? Toes are way above the shoulder. All right, this is for the jump outside. Okay, that's about the best frame I can find for this jump outside. And from there, it would appear that the toes of the kicking leg are below shoulder level, okay? All right, there, that looks good, right? Toe of the kicking foot above shoulder. Let's take a look at the jump outside here. Okay. From there, it looks low. So it turns out probably the A judges believe that both jump outsides were too low, and they deducted the code 30. Okay, so just to review, we're talking about the code 30, and for the A judges, there are two requirements for that. This is for the tengkong feijiao, the xuan fengjiao, and the tengkong bailian. The requirements is that the kicking leg must be at least at shoulder level. The explanation for that from the judge's book is that the toes of the kicking leg be above the shoulder level, right? And that the hand comes in contact with the foot, that they slaps the foot of the kicking leg. We also talked about the requirements for difficulty movements, and this is from the C judges, which is different than what the A judges are looking at. For the C judges are looking for complete rotation, right? So for 360, 540, 720, they're looking for the rotation to be complete. And they're also looking for the kicking leg to be high enough. But this is different than what the A judges are looking for. The C judges define high enough as the kicking leg being at least at horizontal level, also waist level. So I hope this was helpful. If any of you have questions about anything that we went over in this video, please leave some comments, and I'll see you in the next video.